This is going to be a video of how to grind your power level from 10 to 300 power level. There's going to be answers that you're probably not going to like, and I don't like it as well, to the point where the grind is going to get a little toxic. For players who are power level 10 under 200, if you are a new player or veteran guardian, let's just say, you must play campaign legendary mode to level up faster. When you are playing legend mode, you will be able to get plus 10 armor and weapons. And this method seems to be working if you play legend on 2 characters, or if you play normal on your first character, you can go and play legend on your first character, and you can go on Fireteam Finder on campaign mods, and pretty much you can join someone in a fire team and then just get the legendary done. I recommend to just play the campaign mode until you are 197 power gear. And then what's going to happen is that you'll be able to play expert. And expert is what mainly you will want to do to level up to 300. Because once you hit 200 power level, that's when the grind really starts. Now you're going to play on expert mode. And expert mode is going to be basically mods and banes that you can customize and choose from. And I can recommend some mods that I think that are good. But then there's going to be a downfall later on, depending of what high power level you are, and depending of high power someone else in your team is, where reward rank can be extremely confusing. And this is what really bothers me with this grind portal ops mechanic that I'm seeing right now. You're going to be adding some easy mods. Then after you are power level plus 25, then the rank A goes down. So mainly you want to make sure you get to rank A. Now I do recommend Cal's Fall, or you could go for Starcross as well, but I like Cal's Fall because it's pretty much straightforward, to the point, and a lot of players who are speedrunners can pretty much skip a lot of jumping puzzles very fast when using the sword, and they can pretty much drag you to the boss fight. So here are the difficult mods, or the skull mods I like to call it. There was a plus 10, plus 20, and you need to add these mods to make sure you go up to rank A, so you can get the best benefits, the best perks to get the Pinnacle rewards. So here's the thing, when you do add these mods, when it says plus 10, then the component power level is going to be plus 10 more. It's not a buff. I'm seeing a lot of players picking anything they want. They're picking random mods, not knowing what they really do, and which will make your run very difficult and very migraine, point where farming Pinnacle ops is just very time consuming and bad for your health. You mainly want a run around 10 to 13 minutes, hopefully, to really farm for Cal's Fall. You want to make sure you put rank A. No rank A++++. Just rank A, that's it, done. Okay, you don't need to add all these mods, and it really depends on your power level of you being forced to add a lot of mods. Which is why I recommend that if you are the highest power level, I think they should have the control over the players who are low power level, because the person with the highest power level will pretty much add the mods that you need. So first tip is make sure it is rank A, not rank C+, B+. That's a different story for a different power level grind, which I will talk about that very soon. And once you add those mods, and once you are rank A, then you can proceed the farm 220 or 225. So this mod is very very harmless. What it does is it makes enemies invisible from far distance, and as you get closer, then you can see them. This is not really much of a threat. So I highly recommend adding this mod if you do need to add a little bit more power level for the difficulty. And like I said, depending on your power level, you're probably going to be up to rank B or rank A. I'm not sure. But once you do hit rank A, stop. Go look at the buff. Look at the green buff, which I will show you soon. And then that's when you need to have add live wire. Live wire is going to be your best friend until power level 260-ish or power level 265 when you have to be forced to remove green mods. I'm going to use this specific mod. I don't really like this mod. I really hate it. I wouldn't really recommend using this mod, especially on expert. Now, I will say that when you are more higher power level, you're probably going to be forced to use this certain mod. Probably when you're way much higher power level. And I'm not talking about the 200s to 300s. I'm talking about 300 to 400. So I really recommend to avoid this when you are playing expert. I'm going to repeat this. Avoid this mod when you are playing expert mode, not master, expert. Now there is these other mods like the energy drain where players have increased ability energy cooldown. That one could be okay to use as later on you might have to add plus 20 mods later on the power level. Try your best to just add plus 10. And if you are not getting the A rank, then what I would do is I will have to add Banes, then to avoid grounded. Now grounded is a very harsh mod, and I know this mod pretty much to my heart because I remember dealing with this certain mod during Grandmasters on Glassway where the stairs were glitchy and for some reason I was getting one shot from the boss or pretty much anything because grounded was enabled. When you are starting from 200 to 225, I will try my best to just add the plus 10 mods. Like for example, like the Scorn Void Shield. Like that one's not so bad, so I would highly recommend to try to add that instead of grounded. Later on you will be forced to use grounded, which I will tell you what power level you'll be forced to. Now there's this other mod and I don't recommend it where it says that when defeated, Scorn Stalkers spawn scribs. Basically, if your character dies or your fire team dies, then they're gonna spawn these mini scribs that possibility that could hurt you very greatly. Now, this is something that really irritates me to the passion. Now, when I was playing expert mode to 200 to 300, I never put it this mod. I never added this mod ever. I actually added no HUD later on throughout leveling up. Now, this mod here is basically weapon and armor loadout is restricted. And that means that you cannot use your old armor or your old weapons. You are forced to use the new exotic, the new future exotics, I think. And also you'll be forced to use the new armor. I don't know what you feel about this mod, but for me personally, when I saw this mod, I thought to myself of the game basically wants you to get rid of your armor from last season and weapons. They want you to get rid of it, and they want you to just use the new weapons as of now for this season. On the live stream, I remember they said that it was okay for us to use our armor and weapons for the Edge of Fate, but I think seeing this feels like a big lie to my face of being forced to use this certain mod. Now on expert mode, you don't need to use this mod, but later on, when going on master, pretty much you'll be forced to use this mod. And this is not me just saying it. I know people are not gonna like this. Also on conquest mode, you are forced to use weapons and armor from this season to even play it. on certain difficulty or certain objectives that they have on the list. So this one's highly recommended. Equipment locked activity. This is going to be your best friend probably when you reach to 270. So when you do reach to around 270 or 265, I'm trying to remember. For me, I personally just add another one called no HUD. So I would just recommend adding no HUD and then lock activity. I wouldn't recommend putting on the other mod where you're forced to use armor. So now things get a little bit toxic, where now later on you're going to be forced to add Banes. So in my opinion, I think Threaded and Avalanche will be the best Banes. Now I would say Threatening and Fawn Shielding, but that mod got removed. That mod's not there anymore. And like I said, there's something really bizarre about these mods, and I noticed that they're changing. And they're not changing on a reset, they're changing randomly, especially at nighttime for me around 6 or 7 o'clock. Some of the mods are changing secretly. And I don't remember if they mentioned that on live stream on the Twid, where the mods that you have change every day for Pinnacle ops. And it's not all the mods that change, it's just like here and there, maybe one mod gets replaced on this, 3 mods here get replaced of that. And I really don't like it. I think it's ridiculous. So here are the recommendations of the mods I highly recommend. I don't like Thread and Avalanche, but it's the best I can think of because I don't like the Rage one because those Banes have more health and they do more damage and you don't want that. And I don't like the Scribs. And the Fawn Shielding isn't so bad. If you're using a barrier weapon or barrier scout, all that goody stuff, then the Fawn Shielding isn't going to be a threat. But the problem is, for today or maybe tomorrow, they don't have it. They don't have the threaded and font shielding Banes. They have the threaded and avalanche, and that's the best. And then later on, when you do reach to 270 power level, and this is when you're going to be forced to use arc threat plus 20 and grounded plus 20. You will have to be forced to put plus 20, plus 20, plus 20, and plus 10 when you are close to 300 power level. And I think around 280 or 280 is when you have to put all the top mods. And for me, I like stable foes, and then you have to be forced, by the way, I repeat, you're going to be forced to pick plus 20 mods like the Arc Thread and Grounded. Now, just to let everyone know, they changed the mods because I had the promoted Bane. I had the promoted mod where it was plus 20. And I also had this other mod where it makes a player get nerfed. The player who is pretty much carrying you or carrying everyone in the team gets nerfed. And what happens is I get a crown. And for some reason, I was ahead. I was ahead of my team, and I was getting the crown consistently. They were saying combat fatality or combat fail. It had like this weird buff, like saying that, oh, you're playing too good, we're gonna nerf you. And that's basically what they did to me. They nerfed me around 10%, I think. I'm not really sure because I wanted to test it more. They give you a crown or they pick someone else who is playing really good, or sometimes they just randomly pick you because you're the highest power level. So if you don't have grounded, then I would pick the Bane promotion, the promotion perk. I don't have it here, but I can show you proof that they had it. And then, of course, you need to remove the green buff, the live wire, because you just want to make it to rank A when leveling up, especially up to 270. So you must remove it, add no HUD, add equipment lock, and then you should be able to make it to 300 power level. When you are power level 260, you unlock master mode, I think, or is it 250? But anyway, when you do unlock master mode, you don't go to master mode. Just keep playing expert until you reach the 300. The game is going to force you to play master mode. And you don't want to play it because if you do enter master mode, pretty much all the enemies are going to be skulls. And you don't want that. Not only they're forcing you to play master mode, there is also champions, which I will talk about that soon. So make sure you double check your Pinnacle ops when you are about to start the activity or for the farm. Make sure it's on expert, not master, because like I said, the game forces you to play master when you are trying to rush and not look. I wanted to show proof for these mods because of course no one's gonna believe me. If I didn't have this footage right now, I don't think anyone in the Destiny community would believe me. And plus I'm a girl. I mean, people can't take girls seriously. I mean, that's how it is for the gaming industry. We're not taken seriously. We're already having a bad rep as it is. And then for people like me, it's suffering because now I can't be taken seriously. And that's why I want to show proof for the mods where they change, but not at reset time. So 300 power level. So 300 power level is a different game. So the grind starts to stop once you reach 300 power level. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but here is the mods that I can think of as of now to have an A rank. Because the minimum I can think of for rank A as of now could change is 340 power level and then your 300 power level or 299. There should be more rewards once you hit master. And then don't get me started, there's also grandmaster if you notice at the bottom, which I didn't unlock. But I'm assuming that grandmaster is when you're going to be forced to use the new season armor and new season weapons, and of course locked and no HUD. I think that's what's gonna happen when I reach to grandmaster. They're gonna make me add more mods over and over and over. This is gonna be a very toxic grind, and I don't see this fun for anyone, especially for new players, and especially players who are coming back from work or players who are veterans or coming back. They see the grind and then they go turn off the game and uninstall it, which I don't blame you. That's basically what I would do too if I came back from the game. I looked at it, didn't like it, looks bad, and I just uninstalled the game. So basically when you are hitting master mode, now the grind's gonna be way more slower because they added champions. You'll be forced to put certain mods like no starting ammo, you'll be forced, and no HUD. Then you're gonna have B plus rank. So basically, they force you to put these mods that are nearly impossible to farm because they're going to take around 20 to 25 minutes or maybe more depending of your fire team. And you also have to deal with champions. And then there's a mod which we're forced to use. And the reason why we're forced to use these certain mods is it doesn't buff the component power. So when you're using these certain mods, they don't add it. And I haven't added more additional component power. Because when you hit B+, then it's 330 power level. And if you hit B, then it's going to be 320. But then your engrams is going to be 301 power level. So basically, you will have to play B+. Then you can go to A rank. But I just think it's very slow and very toxic. I haven't figured out 100% of the fastest to grind 300 to 400 power level. It's like if they want players to make the Pinnacle ops to be longer, like 20 minutes, then the rewards needs to be worth it. They need to buff it, especially for Master to Grandmaster and of course Grandmaster. This is an update that says 330 power level. You can get 305 or plus 4 Pinnacle rewards on rank A when you are 330. And this is basically the best mods I can think of. And of course, you'll be forced to use no HUD, no ammo at the beginning of the Nightfall. I mean, no ammo at the beginning of Kel's Fall or any mission you pick, and no HUD. if you don't add those certain mods, then it's gonna go up to 350 to 360. And you can see here, for example, I take 2 days of a break thinking about it, about the game here and there. And I don't think it's very healthy. I mean, you're gonna grind the same old content over and over, and then by the time you turn off the game, you're gonna feel lifeless and be like, so, what did I do now? Oh, yeah, work. Then you come back from work. Oh, guess I gotta go for my second job. Gotta go regrind a bit for maybe 2 hours, maybe 1 hour or more. Or if I'm off work, you see what I mean? Another conspiracy I was thinking is if the beginning of 300 power level is horrible and you're low power level, you might as well look for someone over power level 30 or 60, 360 or 400. Just have a friend or just look for LFG of someone who's really high power level and then just play exotic missions with them. But that's my conspiracy. I'm not sure. I haven't reached to that level. I can't give you an answer 100%. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm very tired. I don't. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.